Okay, ready for this?
I'm always ready. What do we have?
Today's deep dive.
Hmm.
It all starts with just 3 words. Motivation, success,
Yeah,
and life.
3 pretty big words. Where are we going with this?
Well, it's almost like a puzzle.
Yeah, I see that.
What kind of connections can we even make
Yeah,
with so little to go on?
it's definitely going to be a challenge.
But I'm intrigued. I don't know about you.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost like one of those philosophical prompts you see sometimes,
Mm.
more than like source material, you know?
Right, right.
It's really making us think.
Forcing us.
Yeah, forcing us to think about how these ideas,
Concepts.
yeah, concepts, how they all fit together.
And that in itself, I think, is kind of powerful.
Oh, for sure.
You know, you start with something simple,
Yeah,
3 words, but it can spark some really deep thinking.
I agree.
So let's dive in, as we like to say,
Okay.
when you hear these 3 words together. Motivation, success, life. What jumps out at you? What's the first thing you think of?
Well, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is motivation being kind of the engine,
Oh, interesting.
the driving force. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
That pushes us through life
Uh-huh.
towards what we define as success. But it's not just about energy, like raw energy.
Right, raw motivation.
Yeah, it's about the quality of that motivation.
The source of it.
Yeah, where's it coming from?
So you're talking about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Are you coming at this from a place of passion,
Hmm.
like really loving what you're doing?
Yeah.
Or are you chasing after some kind of reward?
External validation.
Yeah, external validation. Or are you maybe just trying to avoid punishment?
Hmm. Interesting. So where have you seen this play out in your own life? Like, when have you felt either intrinsically or extrinsically motivated?
Oh, tons of times, Like, think about those late nights working on a project
Oh, yeah.
where you completely lose track of time because you're so engrossed.
Yeah.
That's intrinsic motivation in action.
Makes sense. And I think there's a lot of research
There is.
that shows that intrinsic motivation, that inner drive, it's so much more powerful
Much more
than
than
the extrinsic.
it really is. It's more sustainable, too, for long-term success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any specific research come to mind?
Well, there's Edward Deskey and his self-determination theory. That's a big one.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
What does that say exactly?
So it suggests that when we feel a sense of autonomy in what we're doing, like we're in control.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have a choice.
Yeah, exactly. And competence, like we're good at what we're doing.
Yeah.
And also the sense of relatedness.
Like you're part of something bigger.
Exactly. That's when our intrinsic motivation really flourishes.
It makes sense.
And it leads to much greater satisfaction.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ultimately, to a more fulfilling life.
That makes total sense. I've certainly seen that in my own life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. And it kind of brings us to this next question, I think.
Which is,
How do we even define success?
oh, yeah, that's a huge one, isn't it?
It is, because it's so personal, this concept of success.
Right. It's always evolving, too.
Exactly. It changes as we change,
Yeah.
and it's shaped by our values, our experiences, even our backgrounds.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's important to acknowledge that we're constantly bombarded with this very specific and honestly pretty narrow view of success.
What do you mean?
You know, the whole money, fame, power thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But is that really all there is to a fulfilling life?
I mean, it depends on who you ask, I guess.
True, true. But for me, I think it's so much more than that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
Because a fulfilling life, it's about aligning your actions with what you truly believe in. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's about pursuing goals that resonate with who you are at your core.
And maybe contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, making a difference somehow.
It's about creating a life that feels meaningful, regardless of how much money you make or how many awards you win.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the life part of our little puzzle comes in.
Right. Because it's our experiences.
The whole journey.
Yeah, the ups and the downs, the triumphs and the setbacks
All of it.
that shape our values, our motivations, and ultimately how we define success.
It's true. Think about it. Even a challenging experience that might feel like a failure at first.
Yeah.
It can turn into something that helps you grow.
Like a learning experience.
Yeah, leading to a much deeper understanding of yourself, maybe even a shift in what's important to you.
Right, and your priorities.
Exactly. And it can totally spark new motivations that you never even thought of before.
It's like they say, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
I love that.
Right, every experience contributes to the overall journey.
It all becomes part of the tapestry.
And that makes me wonder,
What's that?
does achieving success, even by our own definition, always guarantee a fulfilling life?
Ooh, that's a big one. I don't know, it really makes you think.
Right. Is there something more to it than just checking off all the boxes on our goal list?
Hmm. It's complex.
It really is.
Maybe a truly fulfilling life comes not just from achieving specific goals, but from embracing the whole journey.
The whole messy, beautiful journey.
Exactly. With all the good and the bad, the striving, the setbacks.
The learning, the growth, and the connections we make along the way.
I think you nailed it.
Well, I think that's a pretty great place to leave our listeners today.
I agree.
We started with 3 words: motivation, success, life.
Yeah.
And look how much ground we covered.
It's amazing what can come from such a simple starting point.
So to our listeners out there,
Mm-hmm.
as you go about your day, think about those 3 words and how they all connect in your own life.
Great advice. It's been a really interesting conversation.
Thanks, it's been fun.